since we will need a few more forms, how about we make a stateless widget for them? So, first things first, I am just going to minimize this column and copy it. Let's go to the components file now and create a stateless widget and name it text form. The next step is to select this container and paste the column, which we copied earlier, in its place. Remove the comma and reformat the code. Now we need to accept the parameters so that we can use this form many times. However, before that, I would like to show you something. Let's say I want to accept a heading. So I am gonna write final heading followed by a semicolon. Previously, what we used to do is we used to write this dot heading here before the key. And whenever we were calling the widget, we were writing the values over here just like this. But that had to be in a specific order, and it's generally not easy to recognize which value is going to which variable, thus making us prone to mistakes. Also making the code a bit less readable. So adding all the values was compulsory. Okay, we can remove this form from here. Let's go ahead and instead of writing the heading here, I am going to cut it and paste it after the key. When you call the text form, you can observe that there is no suggestion by default that tells you that entering a value is obligatory. We want to change that for the heading variable. So, in order to make a parameter value required, we simply need to write add required right here. Now you can see that the suggestion underline appeared, and if you hover over it, you will be able to notice that the parameter heading is required is written. And this is how we make the parameter required. It's really simple, isn't it? But before using the widget, let's observe something interesting in the components file. We could change the width of the text form field using the sized box. But it's a bit difficult to change the height using it. So, in order to change the height or increase the lines of the form, we are gonna use a property called max lines. Let's say that the value of max lines is 1. Its value is 1 by default, by the way. And our text field looks like this after reloading. Now, if we change the max lines to 6 and reload, we can observe that the height did change significantly. We are going to need the max lines only for the last form of the page. How about we go ahead and start accepting the parameters then? The first one is heading. As you can see, it's already here. The second one is going to be the width, followed by hint text, and finally max line. Now the width has to be the required parameter as the heading is already required. So let's write add required followed by this dot width. Then the hint text needs to be required as well. I'm gonna write this dot hint text, and the max line is not going to be required, so just write max line. Great! Let me reformat it. Now that we're done over here, we can go ahead and instead of the first name, we can write heading. Moving on, let's provide the width. Since max line is optional, we have to know how to handle it when its value is null. So, what I am gonna do right now is that I'm gonna write if max line is equal to null, then return null, or else put the value of max line. It means that when the value is null, the default value, which is 1, will be taken. Now let's put the hint text over here, and we're done.